I'm thrilled and excited at the thought that Alice in Borderland will get a season 3. I was sure that the Joker reference at the end wouldn't just be randomly thrown in by Netflix. Even so, I wouldn't have minded if the show had only 2 seasons. I didn't expect Netflix to wrap up this series so well and add an ending that ties everything together with a plausible explanation. But in today's video, we won't talk about the first 2 seasons. Instead, we'll discuss all the available information we have about Alice in Borderland Season 3 and what we should expect. We also have a confirmed release date. It's coming out on September 25th. So far, we know that from the previous cast, only 4 members are confirmed. The rest are just speculation. We have the 2 main characters, Kento Yamazaki and Tsuchiya, as Arisu and Usagi. We also have confirmation that Yaka Miyoshi will play An and Hayato Isomura will play Banda, and that Shinsuke Sato will direct the series finale. Unfortunately, we don't have confirmation for Nijirô Murakami as Chishiya yet, but I hope he will be cast. I swear that if I don't see Chishiya in this season, it will be the biggest disappointment ever. I don't really care how, but they need to bring him back. Despite all my hopes, it's more plausible that we won't see 2 of the most popular characters in the series. Yes, I'm talking about Chishiya and Quina. The main reason is that their story is complete, and bringing them back would most likely be mere fan service. The second, and I think the more important reason, is that Nijirô Murakami, the actor who played Chishiya, has been dealing with severe mental health issues and has stopped acting. Meanwhile, Aya Asahina, the actress who played Koina, was pregnant with her first child when the last season was filmed. All we can do now is hope, but it's more likely that these 2 characters will be missing from Alice in Borderland Season 3. Regarding the conclusion of the story, most of you might know that this show is inspired by the manga of the same name, created by Haro Aso. However, what many of you don't know is that Season 3 is purely an original series from Netflix and is not based on the manga. The manga's main story was completed by the end of Season 2. In fact, the Joker is neither a character in the manga nor a game master. In the manga, he is more akin to the ferryman of Borderland, appearing after the Queen of Hearts and responsible for taking Arisu and the others back to the real world. Netflix's decision to redesign him as a game master could go either way. It might result in an incredibly twisted villain, setting the stage for a high-stakes game, or it could lead to the worst possible ending, killing a successful series just for more money. Don't do that to us, Netflix. I'm begging you. Unfortunately, we don't have a full-length trailer yet, but we have been given a 30-second teaser from which we can deduce one of the games. This is the first game we saw in the manga, the original 3 of Clubs game. The game we see here, featuring fire, is the first game Arisu plays when he arrives in Borderland. It is called Good Fortune, Bad Fortune, and takes place at a festival. In broad strokes, it goes like this. Every player draws a paper fortune, and each fortune has a luck rating that dictates the difficulty of the question. Each question requires a numeric answer, and if a player answers incorrectly, the penalty is 1 flaming arrow shot at the venue for each point difference between the correct and the given answer. For example, if the question is, how many seconds are in a minute, and you answer 62, then 2 flaming arrows would be shot. The game is cleared when all players have drawn a paper fortune. However, the game ends if any player has not drawn a paper fortune by the time all the lamps have gone out, or if all players are killed during the game. Since we don't have much else to discuss, let's look at the solution for this game. If you'd prefer to avoid spoilers, please fast forward the video by 10 seconds now. The solution for this game is that Arisu realized that the directionality of the arrow's fortune was a notice of the arrow's origin. South is good. At the south of the festival is a cellar which connects to sewage tunnels that lead to safety. End of spoiler. Knowing all of this raises a question. Who are the players? In the manga, the players are Arisu, Chota, Daikichi, and another unknown participant. However, Chota and Daikichi die in the first season, and in the manga, this game is the one in which Chota injures his leg. Perhaps this is a reference for the Season 3 poster, where we see Arisu, Usagi, and an unknown person in a wheelchair. Maybe this third character is a player in the good fortune, bad fortune game, and he is the one who injures his leg. But somehow, I don't believe it. Story-wise, having two players from different seasons injure their legs in the first game seems too cliché. Since Season 3 will feature a game from the manga, I'm sure Netflix will adapt more games from the source material. It likely won't be just one game pitting the players against the Joker. Unfortunately, that 30-second teaser doesn't give us much to discuss, but we'll try to make the best of it. Another possible game adapted from the manga could be the Two of Hearts, based on this subway scene. In the manga, this game is played in a train yard and was cleared by Saori Shibuki on her first day of arrival. In case you don't remember her, she is the woman who joined our three main characters after the first game in Season 1, and she was the one who tried to manipulate Chota to win the Seven of Hearts game. The Two of Hearts game is played as follows. Each train consists of 4 carriages, and the game does not begin until each player boards a different train. One of the 4 carriages is filled with a lethal poisonous gas. If a player enters without a canister of oxygen, it's game over. Each player is given a gas mask and 3 cylinders of air, with each cylinder providing 5 minutes worth of air. Once a player enters a carriage, the door to the next carriage won't open for 5 minutes, meaning the player must use up a cylinder regardless. This essentially forces each player to choose one carriage to enter without a mask, hoping that it isn't the one containing the poison. The game is cleared if the player successfully passes through all 4 carriages. If you'd prefer not to have the solution spoiled, please fast forward the video by 10 seconds now. The key to clearing this game is attention to detail. In each carriage, there is a vase of flowers. In the safe rooms, the flowers are blooming. In the room with the poison, the flowers are wilted and dead. Spoiler ended. If this theory is correct, then the question arises, who is the player that clears this game, considering Saori died in the Seven of Hearts game? There are 2 possible answers. Either we see another player complete the game, most likely Usagi, or we see a flashback from an earlier version of the game. Perhaps this scene represents that possibility. Maybe Arisu somehow gains the ability to jump through various timelines of the game in order to find a clue about the Joker's identity, possibly as part of the game's rules. Notice how his clothes look very dirty, as though he has played several games before. This could be a hint that he was transported there without any idea why or where he is. Another theory is that the door shown is actually the gateway between real life and Borderland, allowing Arisu to jump between the 2 realities. I think the most intriguing part of the teaser, and definitely the one that has sparked the most debate, is this scene featuring that mysterious person. Who is he? Could he be the Joker? The most popular theory suggests he is Banda, and there are a few facts to support this. First, Netflix has already confirmed that Banda's character will be returning. Second, their postures seem very similar. In case you don't remember, Banda participated in the Jack of Hearts game in the last season. More importantly, he is portrayed as a serial killer who murdered 4 women before eventually being caught and sentenced to capital punishment. He was later transported to Borderland, making it clear that by the end of the series, he had chosen to remain as a citizen in the games. But could he really be the Joker? While his personality might match, I don't think so. Finding out that he is the Joker wouldn't be much of a shock. I believe the biggest plot twist this season will be the revelation of the Joker's true identity, not just the games themselves. I'm expecting someone we didn't see coming. Although some speculate that the Joker could be Usagi's father, I don't see how that would work, or be impactful for us as viewers, especially since we only get small bits of his story from Usagi, making him seem like an unimportant side character. For me, the most intriguing part of the teaser is the moment when Usagi asks for forgiveness from Arisu, suggesting that she might sacrifice herself for the game, or perhaps even betray Arisu and get him killed. Another significant aspect is that Usagi regained her memories. As we know, after they finished the games and returned to real life, none of them remembered what they had been through, and the people standing in front of them were complete strangers. Perhaps when the players return, they will regain their memories. As I mentioned, the manga's story concluded with Season 2, but there are actually two spin-offs, Alice in Borderland Retry and Alice in Border Road. In the retry version, Usagi and Arisu are married and expecting a baby. Perhaps Season 3 will also adapt this storyline, since we saw Usagi in a hospital and Arisu rushing somewhere. Maybe there was a complication with the baby. Alternatively, maybe Usagi and her baby are trapped in Borderland, and Arisu must go back to save them. Perhaps that door represents Arisu journeying through various versions of Borderland until he finds Usagi. As I said, we are treading in uncertain waters with Netflix's decision to add a final season, so anything is possible. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about what might happen in Season 3. Do you think we will get some answers about this world and who actually runs Borderland? Also, who do you believe the Joker might be? Or could there even be two Jokers? I cannot wait for Season 3, and let me tell you, I'm more excited for Alice in Borderland Season 3 than for Squid Game Season 3.